Beep, 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 beep. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever the hell you are. How are we, peapods of the twin webs? Lovely to see you. This is surreal. Okay, it's not only is it surreal, it's phenomenally dangerous. This is the Telegraph again, and it's come out this, I think, the last few days. So I don't know whether you've come across it before, but the link's in the doobers as usual. If you can do, buy me a coffee, become a warrior teacher. You know the game by now. I'll start advertising for the new warrior teachers in the next few weeks, even though we haven't got a start date till January. There'll be those that want to get on board before the places go. So let's see what we can do about that. But other than that, let's crack on with what I've got today for you, which I find phenomenally, deeply disturbing, and which comes from Hayley Dixon, working for the Telegraph, on the subject of the police. It is very obvious to anybody who's been paying the slightest attention, there's something wrong with the police. I don't know what it is that's wrong with them, but there's something wrong, and I suspect the Royal College of Policing have got an awful lot to do with this because they're stonewalled, I think. If I'm wrong about that, please do tell me. You know I don't mind. You're an idiot, you're wrong. Just tell me, all right? This one here is quite extraordinary, and the ramifications when you start to have a think about it, which I'm sure you will, are vast. That's the only way to describe it. So we'll begin with the headline, no further whiffle from me. Rapists wrongly labelled as women by police. What could possibly go wrong? Police adopt self-declared gender of alleged sex attackers despite Home Secretary telling them not to. You want to think about that for a second? The Home Secretary represents you and I. That's right, they're not willing to do the will of the people. What does that tell you? We're in such dangerous territory. We are in such dangerous territory, and there's still idiots whipping on about it all being okay. Police have wrongly labelled hundreds of suspected rapists as women, the Telegraph can reveal, despite the Home Secretary saying they should not do so. As if they need to be told that. Figures obtained under the Freedom of Information Act show for the first time the scale of police adopting the self-declared gender of alleged sex attackers. Dear, dear, dear. Over the past 4 years, police forces have referred 260 females to the Crown Prosecution Service to consider a charge of rape. I got stuck at that point. There is no such thing as rape for women, is there? This is for Sarah, of the Phillimore. Would probably be able to tell me more about this. Be interested to see if she knows anything. Because as far as I know, there is no such thing as rape by a female. As far as I know, it would be a serious sexual assault, but not rape if they're female. So how can the CPS charge them with rape if they're female? What is this game that's being played here, and why are they playing it? To please the gender nutters. That's 260 females, and a further 209 suspects have been recorded with an unknown sex. This is incredibly serious. Write to your MP. Write to your police chief. Write to whoever the hell you've got to. This is immensely serious. Over the past 4 years, they have referred 260 female and a further 209 with an unknown sex, which is understood to include those who identify as non-binary. Oh, it says here, by law, rape can only be committed by a biological male. That's because they are biological males. This has to stop. It's got to stop. It comes after the row earlier this year over Isla Bryson. You remember the trans rapist who was initially sent to a Scottish woman's prison before being moved to a men's jail following an outcry. Suella Braverman has said the practice of labelling rape suspects as women is wrong. Last year she told the police forces they should adopt a common sense approach to policing. They've obviously not listened to a damn word she said. She told the Telegraph earlier this year that in no instance, was it biologically or legally right for a rapist to be described as she. Not only is that wrong because a woman cannot legally be a rapist, but also it's grossly insensitive and insulting to the victims of rape who are biological women. She does worry me sometimes, But insulting to the victims of rape who are biological. If you play their game by using their language, I've said this a dozen times, that's what happened again on Twitter yesterday. You do not say biological women, right? You say women. There's no need for the biological bit. Women are, female. All you have to say is women, right? There's no such thing as cis. There's no such thing as trans. There are just men who aren't well or women who aren't well, men who are cross-dressers or women who are LARPing as gay men, right? Or leave the kids out of it, right? That's if you leave the kids out of it, sorry. Campaigners say the system is an insult to the victims of sexual violence, you think? A few years back, Maria McLachlan, who was attacked by a trans nutter, who I think subsequently that nasty little shite left the country. Somebody might be able to confirm that. I had to call him she. That's what the judge made him do. Oh, you fuckers. It's because the Stonewalls had their hands on the bench book, haven't they? You know, Stonewalls had their hands on the bench book. It wasn't the bench book, the bit of the bench book written by some knicker-wearing judge. I don't know. It's all a bit personal services to me. Oh, Dolly, you've got a willy. Right, okay. This doesn't help when the data is useless in assessing risk and tackling offending. Female rapists. For the love of God, this has to stop. Full stop, all of it. The figures will put pressure on the government to force police to record a suspect's biological sex. There's no such thing, it's just sex. Well, technically you can, yeah, I'll let that one slide. Biological sex, rather than allowing them to decide which gender they are. As that data is then repeated throughout the criminal justice system, we need to remove gender as a marker from all public systems. It's immaterial. Immaterial. In response to an FOI request, the CPS revealed that since 2019, about 1.5% of race suspects referred for a charging decision were recorded by police as female and around 1.2% as unknown. So that's 2.7%. My God. You imagine if you were, building a bridge and it was 2.7% short. This is far more dangerous than we think. It's not like, oh, it's only 2.7%, isn't it? Don't really matter. It's the bridge analogy works, right? The 2.7% is the hole you fall through. Okay? It's not in much. The 2.7% is enough to make the system unworkable. It is enough to render the system unworkable. The figures show, the number of alleged rapists with an unknown gender has risen from 1 or 2 a decade ago, to 71 this year. The hell's wrong with these people? Oh, gosh, yeah. Fetishism, paraphilia, narcissism, delusion, cluster B. That's what's wrong with them. And they're criminals. The figure shows that in 2019, 40 females were referred for rape by police to the CPS and 17 were charged. Dear God, that's a high ratio. In 2020, 56 were referred and prosecutors decided to charge 46. And that's a massive change in the amount they decided to charge. In 2021, they received 81 referrals and charged 29. And in 2022, 64 and charged 26. Between January, that's an interesting one, that. I'll leave you to have a think about that. What happened between 2020 and 2021 that will make it drop so much? In 2020, it was 56 to 40, 56 referred, 46 charged. By 2022, it was 64 referrals and 26 charged. What's happened there? Between January and March this year, the latest data available, 19 female rape suspects were referred and 5 were charged. The figures reflect the gender recorded by police forces across the country. What are they doing? Guidance on the CPS website states that rape involves penetration by a penis, therefore a woman can only put this offence as an accomplice. Documented cases of women being charged as an accomplice are rare. I mean, rocking horse shit rare. The latest figures come despite the Home Office telling police forces that they should be recording the biological sex of offenders rather than their self-declared gender identity. However, it remains voluntary guidance. This is the problem. I understand why people get really frustrated about it, and so do I. It's voluntary guidance. What good is that to anybody? We don't live in a dictatorship. Okay? Passing laws in this country is incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. But primary legislation may be necessary. Primary legislation may be necessary to say that gender identity in no shape, form whatsoever, ever becomes part of processes or procedures across the public sector, the education sector, the university system, and any business that's receiving public money. Maybe we need to tweak the public sector equality duty, which means they have to do it. Not only does this actually screw with the bodies of the individuals that get involved, it screws with the body social, doesn't it, too? because now we're in a situation where over 400 men who may, or did not commit rape, have decided they're women, and we've gone, that's okay, love. Have a cup of tea and a biscuit. See you later.